Bienvenido a the Extended Branch, un podcast
You got the remote control for this? I think we're on the wrong language setting.
destinado a demystificar los aspectos. Oh, hey, estoy Billy Bob. Sorry.
Sorry, we had the wrong translation. I'm sorry.
What'd you have for lunch, man?
It was Mexican. Sorry. So basically, what I was trying to say was, our opinions are our own. We share them with no one but ourselves. So take them as you will. And
they are not the opinions of any Grand Lodge.
Yes.
Welcome
correct.
to the Extended Branch.
Welcome to the Extended Branch. Like, share, subscribe if you like what you see, and always feedback is appreciated. With me tonight, as always, worshipful brother Andrew Rizzatello.
I still don't believe it.
My very good friend, brother Andrew Cotter, fellow of King Solomon.
Damn, you just screwed that all up.
Yeah, really bad.
See, it's still wearing off. The Spanish. He has to turn it off.
Lo siento. Permiso.
My name is Andrew.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Hi, that's Kevin Cotter. Cotter the Gray.
It's been a long week, guys.
Yeah, it sure has. So a little bit different format tonight. Just the three of us. And we're actually going to throw it over to Andrew because he took a little Mason for me. So
I did.
A little
originally,
Mason.
And I'll peel back the curtain a little bit on this one. Originally, I sent Billy an idea for Who's That Mason, and unfortunately, I can't use it now because Billy knows who I would have chosen.
Who it was, yeah.
It was
Don Rickles.
Thank you, the famous comedian, the king of comebacks.
Yes.
Most notably for being on the Johnny Carson show and just being an absolute animal to people, especially during some of the Friars roasts.
That's
and
great.
Things like that. He
was
one of my absolute favorite comedians because he was just
great,
always on point.
Yeah.
He was just constant with him.
Excellent sense of humor. Excellent sense of humor.
So on the fly, I had to find a new Mason. So with that,
Whip.
this famous Mason.
No, I said whip.
This famous Mason was born October 2nd, 1895.
1895 in October.
Who is Dr. Emmett Brown?
That's 1885, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
85.
Sorry.
And it's 88 miles an hour.
88
I'm sorry.
kilometers per second. No clue.
Okay. During World War II, he and his comedic partner sold $78 million in war bonds on a 31-day tour and entertained about 300 Army and Navy camps.
I don't want to guess yet.
Okay.
I have a guess.
I don't want to guess yet.
This is my first time guessing.
I don't want to be wrong.
Okay. Billy?
Is it Bud Abbott?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh,
Abbott
that?
and Costello.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The straight man.
I would have been really wrong.
Yeah.
The straight man of Abbott and Costello, who's on first.
The war bonds thing really set me off because I
Yeah.
knew he was a huge advocate.
He was a huge,
troops.
he was a very proud Shriner.
Yep. Oh God, I'm glad you said Shriner.
Yeah, he was. He was a very proud Shriner. In fact, you can find many pictures of him with his fez on.
Oh, very cool.
He was a member of Daylight Lodge number 525 in Missouri. Yes, Missouri.
Mizzou.
Yeah.
In good old Mizzou.
So, and he also is New Jersey born and bred.
Ooh.
Yes, he is. And they have a statue of him in town, wherever that is. In Jersey.
Yeah,
Bud Abbott's hometown.
There's people screaming in the phone right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Screaming at their radios.
Bud Abbott's hometown.
But I've driven
you know
past
what it
it
is.
many, many
He
times.
has a star on the Walk of Fame in
All of them.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes,
All of them at night.
Yep.
It's downtown New Jersey.
I apologize for half a story.
So with that out of the way, I'd actually like to bring it back to just do the pass the gavel, even though we really don't have a gavel tonight. Let's go to actually first bit of news. As you can see, all of us sitting here without masks on, like we normally are. We are all 100% vaccinated.
Hey, how about that?
5G approved.
Yes, 5G. Have you heard about the new Microsoft deals?
I have some pointed advertising. Just click my face, you'll get there.
It is nice to know that all of us in this room are vaccinated, and it's getting us as individuals closer to some semblance of normal,
a little bit
especially
more normal.
in this state and this state of being, I should say. It is, if nothing else, you should take it as a type of thinking where the more people who get it done, the closer we can get back to going to the beach, having full lodges, things like that. It's
That's what I'm looking more forward to, the lodge thing than the beach thing.
Yeah. Well, listen, pasty white guy over here.
I do not tan. It's 100% burn. So.
That's the Irish in you coming out.
It sure is.
But with that, also, I'd like to announce that I am now a member of the Scottish Rite.
Hooray!
Very beautiful. The Scottish Rite has been putting on this program called Thursday Nights at the Rite for the last, I don't even know, couple months now. They're on their second season.
Wow.
And what they do is you petition to your local valley, as they say, and you can, once you get your candidate number, you can log on to the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdiction, at least in New Jersey here, because we're the Northern Masonic Jurisdiction. And you can watch the plays that are the Scottish Rite rites.
Oh, that's very cool.
For the candidates, you always have to see the 4th degree. That's number 4. You start there. That's called Builder.
Okay.
And then depending on which night you watch is a different degree. So I watched the 30th degree on my first night, which is Inspector. And it was about an hour-long play discussing certain things.
Yeah.
I'll say that the 4th degree follows the story that we're taught.
Okay.
Through the first 3 degrees.
Okay. All right. I was going to ask what
it
what
does.
Could you tell
I'm
us?
looking. Yeah. So the thing about the Scottish Rite, at least what I found, is it does, as you can tell, it doesn't go in order. You don't go 4, 5, 6, blah blah blah. All
It
the way
just
up
goes
to
when you can get it.
Exactly. So there may be other rites in there that are very much more connected to the degrees in Blue Lodge. Compared to like the 30th degree, while the morals and things like that were definitely there, I couldn't really connect it back to the story we were told.
Right. It's so far from removed.
It's also taken. It also takes place in a different period of time.
Oh. That's neat.
So far what I've been told is that Scottish Rite brothers, while they're collecting these things, they're given basically effectively a Masonic passport.
Yes. I'm getting that in the mail.
They go and they gather these things. So I did the same thing.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Awesome.
I didn't start my first night thing yet, but I went through and I did the whole application process.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
You and I seem to know a lot of the same people, so and they may have all been guests on this podcast. But yeah, so I'm gonna head in that direction too.
I'll be joining in next Thursday. You can join it any Thursday as long as you get that member number from the email.
I'll have to check.
Yeah. For me, it was Brother Pete Saunders who responded, and he gave me my member number. And as soon as you get that, like I said, you can log on to the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdiction website, put that number in, and then you sign up for whatever Thursday night.
Oh, very cool. All right.
I'm not sure. Easy. I think next Thursday is the 19th degree.
So if it weren't because COVID, would you be going to different places to do it? All right. So what would be the closest you would go by us?
So us is the Central Valley in New Jersey, and that would be Bordentown.
Wow. Bordentown is the closest.
So for me,
I mean, that's not awful.
It's not terrible.
Like an hour.
So the weird thing is with the Scottish Rite website, like you type in, I want to be a Scottish Rite Mason, and and it goes by miles. It doesn't go by driving miles. It goes by air miles. So for me, it kept pushing me to Mecca Shrine.
Oh my God.
Which is in New York.
Oh, well, I mean,
so
Manhattan's
now nothing against Mecca Shrine, but I'm like, dude, I can't get up there. I'm closer to these guys.
I'm not doing that at Thursday on a 5 o'clock. There's no way that's happening.
You'll have to send your Raven.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, I did that, and also through the email, there's something that happens every year called the Grandmasters Reunion, and this year it's happening on May 8th.
Oh.
And you go there, and you will receive 4 different rites.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the last of which will be, for me at least, will be the 32nd.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I will technically be a 32nd degree Mason after this night.
Get your
yeah, exactly. I'll be high enough. maybe
Your
to know.
your belt is gonna be like 5 inches thick around your waist.
They were like, congratulations, here's your sash.
Yeah, your flair.
Please go into the next room where you will learn the Colonel's spices.
The secret recipe.
And
you'll be
brought
greeted
to
by the Tyler and Nicholas cake.
Brought to us by Brother Dave Thomas, by the way. Secreted into the York Rite.
We'll learn about Dr. Pepper for some reason, too. The different flavors of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. That guy, that secret doctor.
Yeah. So not only that, but also as of this recording, which will be going up the Thursday following, on the 25th of April, I will be officially made a Shriner.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yes. And what was cool is that during the Scottish Rite presentation, the Scottish Rite and the Shriners are two of the groups that put together some of these plays that you watch. And like these are all brothers that put on these particular rites. So you're watching like a YouTube series essentially of whatever the rite is at that moment.
Oh, that's great.
And that's what you would have been doing had you seen it in person. You're watching a play.
You'd just be sitting there anyway, and unless they chose you or whatever, you know.
No,
but you would know.
It's not that type of.
But you would know beforehand. That's what I mean. Like they would be like,
they
come
would tell
in,
you, like,
we're gonna give you
be
2 months from now or whatever.
Well, like, oh, you're gonna get the 19th and the 12th today. So you would know that, but.
Oh, that's so cool! You just go in.
Go in and you watch.
Going back to
it's theater.
You know, Ritual Part 1.
Yeah.
I mean that very, very much ties into that. I mean plus.
Oh yes, and I will give it
cool.
to the actors. Like they actually said for the 30th degree that I watched that the gentleman that portrayed the characters and whatnot, they had only ever done it on a stage. They had never been in front of a camera before, so the recording that you saw was their first time behind a camera, or in front of a camera, I should say.
Yeah.
So you could tell that there was a little bit of oh crap, I can't do that. It's not the same when you're in a theater present and in front of a camera. Sometimes when you're in the theater, you have to overact certain parts.
That's so cool.
Because of just the fact that you don't have amplification.
Right. But then being on camera, they're already used to the overacting, so it comes off like a little extra dramatic.
It's a little bit of a novella.
Yeah. But I mean, still, like the fact that that goes back to back to Ritual Part 1. Where we talk about like if you're gonna do it, and I love it. I love it when guys like take it and make it like
they were
fun, and you know
the one brother in the 30th degree definitely took his role very seriously.
Yeah, that's great.
Like he could have been a true actor if he isn't already.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
You know,
he may be. Yeah. I mean, we got.
But no, it was a very good time. Unfortunately, there's a chat box. It's kind of like a Zoom meeting where there's a chat box on the side.
Gotcha.
You can see other brethren.
Send your hearts.
Yeah. Send your hearts. I noticed a couple names that I thought were familiar. I know we here know Brother Glenn Cantor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He was also on with me that night. There was a few other brothers from New Jersey that didn't say. They just said, "Oh, I'm from North Jersey. I'm from South Jersey.
I'm from Jersey."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things. But like there were over 1,000 viewers that night.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, you were interacting with a lot of other brothers. It was a really cool experience.
That's very cool.
And I'm looking forward to next Thursday, and I'm looking forward to May.
Yay!
So
I'm excited for you to become a Shriner. I gotta tell you, that's gonna be fun.
Well, listen, you know, like I said before, the Shriners are the most notable. Branch of Masonry out there.
Well, I love what they do. I honestly love their mission. I mean,
true.
Michael Jackson said it, but they like live it. That's the children of the future. Like, take care of them.
Yeah.
And I love it that it's like that's what makes them so fun.
And that's the other thing is they have fun with it.
Yeah, 100%. Because you guys
like
we
go, you know. Harking back to Ritual 1, we say that, you know, Ritual, we have to take it seriously, and we have to present it in a way that we're giving to the candidate, and we're trying to impart lessons and whatnot to the candidate at least with the Blue Lodge and with York Rite, the degrees. There's definitely you're watching this because you want to absorb knowledge.
Oh yeah, I just do that in Lodge just in general.
Well, still, but like with the Shriners. I mean, hell, this year they're putting on a pirate degree.
That's so cool.
Like they're gonna have fun with it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's great too. And
so,
talk about making it yours. You know?
Exactly. You know, it's just silly things like that, and my initiation's open, so like my wife can come, you guys can come,
fun.
you know. So it's always that's there. With COVID protocol, you just have to call up and say, "Yeah, we got 6 people coming for
There's
my
28.
Yeah.
My entire lodge, 155. So we all want to sit together, by the way.
Yeah, same table. Let's do this.
Make sure you have extra scotch.
Calm down. Calm down. So yeah, that's that, and I feel like I just hijacked all of this. I just took all the air out of it.
Hijack, schmijack.
Okay.
That was a good. So you're gonna pass it or what?
Yes. I don't have anything physically to pass. So to Billy, just a circumlocution.
No, I really don't have anything. I was just being a pain in the ass. Let's see. We got back to somewhat normal this week. Worshipful Master gave a wonderful presentation on memes, as I like to call them, or memes.
Thank you.
Yeah. He explained where
Sorry, I couldn't be there.
He explained where they came from, and I did not expect that at all. I mean, if I'm gonna have a BBQ tonight, I would like. Andrew, could you re-explain that for the people that may have missed it? When we go through, yeah. So after we're still doing testing game.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Okay, so all right, Kevin, please, if you would, in your turn with
the. I have 1 or 2 small victories.
Oh, nice.
I'm happy to say after many months, my students were able to have their first rehearsal this past week.
Good.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You got to start somewhere.
Correct.
But I was very thankful to be able to do that, and I hope that they were happy with it. And it'll just be a little bit at a time, moving forward. I am now officially done. I've said this many times. Now I am officially done as of about a week ago.
Nice.
With my master's degree.
Congratulations!
Yes.
Oh my God, Kevin!
Are you,
It's
so
so
you're
cool.
getting your slip of paper saying that you've suffered
That's
for
right.
so many.
Here's my proof.
I'm happy to do it. And planning for next year, school wise, the family is good.
Hooray.
I'm happy to say that I lived through 2 weeks of kickboxing so far.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yes,
And,
that's right.
No worse for wear.
And so both times that I've showed up, I was the only kid in class. So at least
Extra special attention to Kevin.
At least, at the very least, I could set the pace of the class. Be like, okay, come on, we're gonna do this. And I'll be like, no,
not right now. Not right now. I like the sitting down thing. Let's do
Yeah. No, I enjoy it very much.
Oh, awesome.
My body decides that physics should go in the opposite direction.
Wow. Yes.
So it'll be a long conversation. But
You listen to me, fool.
no, but things are good, and I'm happy to be here.
I know.
With you guys.
I received a video from your wife of if those don't know, his daughter is my goddaughter. For some weird reason, he chose me. So I get constant updates about how Maggie is doing. And I got a recent video of your son, Michael, playing, I thought it was Injustice, the game.
Yeah, good game.
And I'm watching him play, and he's trying to do whatever. And I look down, and there's Maggie on the floor eating the controller.
Yeah, she's trying to play. She's a gamer
And I'm
already.
like, that is proper handling.
It's proto button mashing.
Yes, with her teeth.
It's a strategy.
It is.
She'll be on to Final Fantasy in like a week. It's like how it goes.
Michael just got off of eating the controller. Abandoned that strategy.
But now the thumbs become strong.
Yeah.
And with that, sort of a minor, minor BBQ.
Yeah, all right, so let me do official. Andrew.
No, this is weird.
Andrew, are you ready for the questions?
I guess.
Because I'm Billy Bilbo, and this is my question.
As you can tell, it's a very loose episode tonight.
Very much. So, Andrew.
This is highly scripted for any of you who are listening.
All of this was written down months ago, so
right.
everything. So, Andrew.
Yes.
As I like to call them, memes have become a prevalent part of our society. Would you like to enlighten us a little bit about the history of what we now call memes and where they came from and why do we use them?
That's a very interesting topic, Mr. Bilbo.
Thank you.
Memes, as we know them, the coin was actually termed by the
term was coined.
The term, I'm sorry, see, grammar was never my strong point, and you all know this.
That's okay. I'll be talking about grammar later.
Here we
For
go.
any of you people who are in for the long haul.
What do you be talking about?
Just stop. No.
with me.
Sorry. Continue. I'll be
Me
here.
fail English?
I'll
That
be here.
impossible.
That impossible.
The word meme was coined by Professor Richard Dawkins back in the 70s in his book, The Selfish Gene.
Okay.
The word meme comes from the Greek mime, M-I-M-E-M-E. And it's not just the pictures you see on the internet. I mean, as now we all know memes as funny pictures that we send each other and whatnot. But what it is it's any type of illustration or symbol or something that is meant to impart or describe something that cannot be possibly verbally communicated to a person, to anyone, honestly.
Okay.
So if I show you a skull and crossbones, the first thing that comes to your mind is danger.
Yeah, or pirates.
Pirates,
Pirates are danger.
But
yeah.
there's a meaning behind that picture that you automatically know.
Yeah, death, don't touch.
Stop it. The sacred number is this guy. So
I have no idea. I'm fascinated by this topic.
Okay. So
intrigued.
So the idea of it, like some people consider it going either it's a virus or it's a gene. Like they take it in that sense where a virus copies itself in sort of a negative way and keeps going, whereas a gene will copy itself and the strong survive.
Right.
Type thing.
So Darwinism kind of thing.
Type of thing, yes. And that goes,
It's interesting.
It is, so it goes along with, and I'll keep going back to internet culture because that's where it's the most prevalent, is like Grumpy Cat's still around.
Right.
You know, we all know Grumpy Cat. It's a classic meme. Or
Right.
Nyan Cat or even Dogecoin to the
Doge.
moon.
Yep. Hey, everyone, by the way.
But like that, those are strong memes, and
Yep.
people still use them. People still
100%.
know what they mean. Whereas there's a lot of memes nowadays that'll die off real quickly because they're so hyper focused on the moment.
Right.
You know, whether it be political or whatever religious.
It is, yeah.
So they die off, so they're not strong in that. And the same thing goes for like the Egyptian language, so to speak. The Egyptian language was picture based.
Oh yeah.
It's not around anymore because obviously language itself
Right.
became prevalent in multiple and language between communication between two different cultures happened.
Right.
You know, either one culture learned the language or learned a section of the language of another culture enough to
a better way to communicate.
communicate. So pictures became. Think of the story I was told going through Catholic school. The fish that you see on a lot of cars for Roman Catholics. The story I was told was that became a symbol because while you were traveling through the desert, if you wanted to find out if someone else that you were talking to was a believer in Christ, you would draw half of that fish in the sand. And if the other person drew the other half, you knew that they were also a believer and you could talk more openly type thing. Similar things happen in Masonry. We have our grips, our words, our do guards and signs.
And blah, blah, blah.
So we obviously, you would go that man, and in your head, you would go, "Oh, wait a second! Now I can talk differently to this person."
Well, and if you remove that, it becomes even more meaningful. If there is a language barrier,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
You've traveled very far, and you might only have that little doodle that you've drawn on the ground,
right?
And now you have a place to sleep tonight,
right. You're learning a new language in the morning, kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the questions I posed to the lodge during my talk was, what symbol of Freemasonry stands out the most to you, and what does it mean to you, and how do you feel that it is a meme?
Oh, I'm so sorry that I missed this.
Yeah.
A lot of the brothers turn just to the very basic square and compass because it's obviously the most noticeable, symbol, and what it means individually can change. But overall, if you see that symbol, it is a marker of either I know that man or that's a place I can go to seek refuge type thing, similar to a cross or of the if Star of David if you're of the Jewish faith, or the moon, things like that. That type of thing. There's a lot of other ones that unfortunately we weren't able to discuss because of there were EAs in the chat, so there were certain symbols for the Master Mason that we couldn't discuss.
Okay.
And like what their meanings were and things like that. Even though they're out there, they're on the internet. You can find all of these.
You can just Google it; it's there.
So. But
I'm not telling you what's true or not, but you could look.
If you're a Master Mason, you should know what they are.
Yeah, you absolutely should.
You're doing this wrong.
Yeah. What happened that second time, guys?
Yeah, like come on, guys. So yeah, I find it interesting because a lot of us focus on just the internet aspect of meme and memeology, or however you want to pronounce
Memeography.
Okay, that's good. But it's actually a very, very, it's a very broad.
Like a mimeograph?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's memeography.
But it's actually a very broad and interesting subject about how lessons and ideas are taught throughout the ages through. It could be illustrations, or it could be body language.
Right. Oh, true.
Certain things like this is going to sound derogatory, but I don't mean it in this way. If you see a man acting very effeminate, immediately what goes to your head is he is gay.
Maybe.
That could be completely wrong.
But
that is a meme that has gone through, a derogatory meme that has gone through the ages. As some that means something that comes across as a way.
So I think when you put it in a particular context,
absolutely,
then it could change. It could change a little bit, or it could change a lot. So for example, people always think about, well, why is everybody of this certain time period in a painting overweight, clearly overweight?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
When you go back and you take maybe the first art history class in a semester, they'll say, look, that was the standard of beauty at the time, because that meant you were cared for and well-fed.
You were wealthy,
you had
well-fed.
food.
So that that whole thing.
They may not have necessarily been overweight, but they were painted that way.
It reinforces how fickle we are as human beings.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're so.
None of this is a perfect science.
Oh, no. And to tie that back to ritual, one of the things that we like to tout is that our ritual is unchanged for the past 300 years.
However long,
you know. And at least with our lodge, I can say that back to at least 1891, it wasn't like I can actually read books from 1891 that has the exact same ritual in it.
Did the same stuff we did Tuesday night.
So the language, very small, like grammatical changes, not so much the overarching language of the time has changed. It's still Old English,
right?
And it trips you up every time.
Well, it's
the and the.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
neither
gonna,
and neither.
I'm gonna draw a line at all of that stuff. Now, I'll throw out a word. It is not a tiled word, Masons. So please don't freak out. Actually, you can freak out all you want because I'm still right.
Still not tiled.
The word inculcated does not belong to Freemasonry. But we're the only freaking people who still use it.
Yeah. I'd never heard
If you hear somebody use the word inculcated, start looking at their hand for the ring.
Yeah. Or send them our way because we have
there.
some questions. We have some serious, like how much
it's
SAT
was your dad a Mason?
Yeah.
Something.
No.
But again, it comes across like in our ritual, we have memes. Whether it be literal symbols or the way that we act during the ritual, it's meant to
It's true.
impart knowledge.
We all may do it a little bit differently, but it's all the same thing we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're trying to share the same knowledge that we believe is the best to make good men better.
Yeah.
You know, the phrase that
that's
we
a
like
meme. There's a meme in itself.
It is.
Right
It
there,
is a meme. In fact, they changed the actual letters around.
Ask one to be one.
Yeah, to be one, ask one. Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Come on, Billy.
The be one, ask one.
Yes.
I'm laughing because I'm wondering if the equivalent of a George Washington era Mason would know how much we depend upon graphics and T-shirts and bumper stickers to prove that we're Freemasons.
Our metallic little thing on the back of our car.
Right. How commercial Freemasonry
my
has
license plate.
Yes.
Hark, what is
plate?
this? What is this strange symbol upon thy
horse
carriage?
Yes.
a horse in a cart with like
carved into the
Oh,
back. Yeah, it's a circle,
branded
with his
into the
lodge name on
horses.
it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Branded into. See, no, you know what? I could actually see that happening.
Yeah, into like you're telling me that.
By the way, it would be a square and compass without a G.
There wasn't a
Absolutely.
Oh
Has
yeah,
to-
yeah.
yeah.
There'd be. You're telling me there wasn't a farmer somewhere in New Jersey with cattle that didn't have the
Anywhere,
law? Yeah,
anywhere. Guarantee you, someone had a square and compass branded onto their cattle
100%.
or their horse.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's buildings from the 1800s
With
that
it
have
right
it
in there.
in the brick.
Go to Charleston. You trip over the amount of Masonic architecture in that town.
Yeah.
Literally, like you bump into stuff and you're like, oh look, there's a Scottish Rite thing on the floor. Oh God, look, I'm in front of the Scottish Rite Museum. Who knew that was here?
So yeah, that was my talk on last meeting. Luckily, we are allowed to have 25 people in lodge. We also still do Zoom meetings, so people can join in that way, or at least brothers can join in that way.
That one's good.
Which was always nice to hear from brothers that weren't able to come or can't travel for health reasons. So yeah, it was a good night overall, and a little bit more comfortable because we were doing work.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like legitimate lodge stuff Tuesday. It was really refreshing. I mean, as boring as some of it is, like
After the year that we have all had,
It
it
was
was
great
nice
to
to
hear,
go back
yeah.
to something
Oh yeah,
that
dude.
we deem normal.
Let's vote on some toilet paper.
yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
How $25 worth of expenses? Let's have a discussion.
Yes.
That's right. Everybody fine with this? Tell me why.
No, I am
Yeah.
not.
Tell me why this feeds your soul.
I would really like to know why it wasn't $23.
How much was the garbage disposal this month? 95. This
we
needs
should
to be
write them
lower.
a letter.
No,
Let's
no,
draft
no.
a letter
Yeah.
right now.
Right now. Let's all vote on every word. Let's go.
Brother Reich, read the minute.
One sentence at a time.
Oh, jeez. He's
from the
cringing
east.
right now.
From the east.
We'll vote for approval
That
line
would be
by line.
fantastic. Oh my God, just to watch the blood run out of his face. That would just be so. That would be so great.
Hair would just pop out of
I
his
may do
head.
that next meeting. I may just say like, no, Brother Reich.
He might do
Please
it.
read the
He might
minute.
do it on purpose.
Read the minutes.
No shortcuts, secretary.
Oh, jeez. So, if you haven't noticed by now, since we're in a new room, two things. One, our studio time is now being shifted over to the Homedale location of a shared unit.
We're at Bellworks.
We're at the Bellworks facility, yes. That's why you notice that we have a nice velour behind us. But also, in view, is the mound of books next to Brother Cotter.
Oh well, yeah. Hi, I'm here. I just thought we. So we want to.
Is this reading Rainbow for Masons?
Yes, it is.
Hold on,
We'll get to that in a second.
Hold on a second. Is the craft store open?
Yes, it is.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
So,
aren't you?
so
The cheesy.
a big. I'll
That's
I'll
your
finish
Chester.
up the thank you to Shared Universe because we love you guys. So thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
For that.
Kristen, so much.
All right. So listen, we've kind of danced around the topic that I want to bring up quite a bit already tonight, which is what we're teaching and what we're talking about and how we do it, and the things that, if all things being equal, we should be able to say to brothers, like, look, if you're not aware of this stuff, you don't have to be well read into this stuff, but if you're not aware of it,
Heavy stuff.
you're doing it wrong. You know.
Yeah, you have to at least know it exists.
So I want to talk specifically tonight about the 7 liberal arts and sciences, which is a topic that it's certainly not a new topic by any means.
No.
But it's one of the many things that has gotten folded into the dough of Freemasonry.
Oh, absolutely.
It is not wholly Masonic at all, but the way that it's presented, the way that it's grouped, the way that a student would have been expected to sort of navigate through their education may seem in our modern world to be a little esoteric. So I wanted to bring this in because, first of all, I want to talk about what it is, and then I want to share with everybody a really fantastic resource that was shared with me, and I want to share with everybody. It's something that, if I can stop right now and say I think every lodge should have a set of these books. I think it's tremendous. If you want to go even further and buy all your new Master Masons a set of these.
Here's your homework for the rest of your life.
Adam.
Adam. So I will say, we to go on some memes and some slogans and things that we use all the time is, if we're doing the 3 degrees correctly, at the end of the completion of the 3 degrees, you shouldn't feel like you've completed and you're done. You didn't graduate Freemasonry. You have literally been shown where to go,
right,
and been given a tool,
right,
and been told start digging.
I would say if you don't have at minimum one question lingering from that last thing, minimum one question.
And here's I love that, because I think the more poetic way it speaks to my mind is curiosity, right? I mean, I think hopefully by nature most Masons are curious people. I would hope so, I would like to say that, but that curiosity has no time limit, right? If you don't come to like an appreciation of this knowledge for many, many, many years, that does not mean that you're not a Freemason, right? But what it can do for people is to be aware that it's there and that they can use it just to sort of circle back and go to a well, go to a place. Go to a body of knowledge that may be presented in a certain way that just checks a box that it may not otherwise in a modern sense.
Not to cut Brother Cutter off, but like he gifted me the Trivium and the Quadrivium books that are now sitting in front of him. And he even said to me, he's like, these are heavy, not just physically, but like these are heavy topics. And it doesn't go, it's not written in a way that you like, oh, here's page 1 and I can just read through this and there's chapter 2 and chapter 3, and it's not. It is very much a resource in the way that I'm like, okay, I'm researching a specific topic and oh, look, it's in the Trivium, for example.
So would you say that even the act of reading it in and of itself is a teaching perspective, because it's teaching you to understand what it's trying to say in a different way than it's presented?
So I yes, I agree with you. And I want to come back to that in particular in a very pointed, direct way. But really quickly, to go back, 7 liberal arts and sciences. Just so people who may not be familiar with the terms, or a liberal arts degree, which is kind of the vestige of this idea that we say. Everybody says, "Oh, we go to it's a liberal arts college." Well, what the hell does that mean?
What does that really mean?
It's just something that goes on websites now.
Yeah, correct.
So, so the 7 liberal arts and sciences: grammar, right, rhetoric, and logic, right, and we group those 3 together into a label that's called the Trivium. I'll explain that in a second. And then the next 4, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. Okay, so they're grouped that way in a very poetic way. So the first 3, the Trivium, have to do with words, right? Because words represent concrete ideas, right? So grammar is physically how words are arranged together, right? And to go back to your point, Billy, that you were making, how often on a daily basis do you think about grammar?
I mean, not often.
If you're writing something,
or reading something someone else wrote.
How many conscious thoughts in your mind in the course of a day is, does my predicate agree with my subject?
Yeah, right.
Never.
Right?
Absolutely never.
Have I paid attention to all the Oxford commas?
Right.
Right.
Was that a run-on sentence?
Right.
Yes. That's about the only thing that maybe I'll pay attention to.
Well, I'm constantly aware, and it's like almost detractedly so to myself of who and whom. Like I'm waiting. I'm like, all All right, it's who for one person, it's whom for several people. Who for one person, whom for several people.
Or people, like the thing that a lot of people seem to have fun with now is further versus farther.
Yes.
Or less and more and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
quantifying those words.
right, yes.
Good and well.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about each one of these just a tiny bit without going really deep into them. So the Trivium, I'm going to pass this around so they can kind of take a look. The Trivium is going to go into very deeply the real concrete topics behind grammar, behind rhetoric, right? And behind logic, about being persuasive, about being able to craft and sustain a good
debate.
Argument.
Yeah.
Right. To be able to engage in conversation.
It's very Platonic.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
Plato, Socrates, that era of debate, because that's what it was with them.
That's all what it is. Yes, absolutely.
With the Greek philosophers, that's literally what it was. Is they literally just debated. They didn't fight. They just questioned each other to a point where they could no longer question whatever it was that they were speaking about.
Right. So all of those things would greatly factor into a study of the law. Right. It would greatly factor into the training of people who are going to write for a living, priests and historians, very much so in the law. Right, so you're talking about the history of words. You're talking about why poetry attracts us and affects us the way that it does, in a very musical sense, just simply based on the formation of the words, the selection of words.
So an interesting offshoot of that is there's a little bit of a debate going on with the Odyssey, and the part where Odysseus lands is with the Cyclops, and there's an author right now who's trying to literally translate, the ancient Greek from it and everything, and why there was such a surprise that the Cyclops started eating Odysseus's men. Like it didn't come in most of the translations, it doesn't come across as powerful. And it's because the way that it was transcribed wasn't proper. And the way that she is now trying to put it through is that it's like when they landed, this Cyclops was their friend and like was helping them and, doing whatever else. And then all of a sudden he's like, nope, I'm hungry. And it's like, what? Like that type of thing. And there's other things about, like, obviously throughout the ages, misogyny was a big thing, and the translators would take that into account and put that in the page and make women either less than men or make them sluts or something like that, whores or things like that.
Like anyone that was not willing to be under a man's boot was a frivolous,
so that's one of the things. That's
person,
one of the things that she's trying to translate properly in the Odyssey. But that harkens back to the understanding of language and how it's put together.
Very much so. So we run into this all the time when we consider and we try to interpret sacred texts as well, right? So, for example, just to use a Christian Bible, there are many different translations and interpretations
King James
of
is
the Bible,
than this
right?
one,
So it has to do with, the Greek translation, it coming from the Hebrew to the Greek, right? All of these things. So the Trivium was used historically very much, almost sort of like a bachelor's degree, where you would go to study, and you had some type of intention upon completing the process. Let's just say you were going into the priesthood.
Okay.
Right, and your job was going to be to copy texts.
Okay.
And this is the medieval priesthood. So you would be tasked with learning grammatical structure, and making sure that you're transcribing absolutely accurately. These things. This is the training that one might receive. Now, I will say this: it
sounds very similar to what, like, rabbis go through when they have to transcribe the Torah.
it's very much. It still goes on today, where any person who is in charge of any congregation of faith has to take scripture, has to take holy texts, and try to apply them to the modern world. Right, try to make them as meaningful as possible to people's lives every day.
Oh no, what I'm referring to is I believe it's No, it's actually Shavuos. It's Shavuos, the holiday that's coming up soon, the Jewish holiday Shavuos. We jokingly refer to it as the cheesecake holiday because this is the day that Moses came down from the mount with the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
And apparently the 11th commandment was thou shalt have cheesecake.
Okay.
It's just, it's one of those things that connect, Easter bunny, Easter we have chocolate and bunnies. For Shavuos they have cheesecake. They have dairy products.
They're happy he came down.
Yes.
I mean, like
but what I'm going at is that there's another holiday, there's another Hebrew holiday, and I don't know what the name of it is, but it's when they receive the Torah, the new Torah, and the individual that is tasked with writing this Torah, has to have it so perfect, like the calligraphy on it has to be perfect.
That's a big deal.
Otherwise, they have to throw it out. It is not kosher
because it's literally the word of God.
Yes.
I mean, you have to.
So in that respect. I'm saying what I was referring to with the priests and whatnot is if they're taking the Hebrew text of the Old Testament, or at least what we consider the Old Testament as Christians, and translating it to whether it be Greek or Latin or whatever the language was.
Oh
at
my
the
God!
time, they had to take that very seriously, and put it in a way that conveyed the message of quote unquote God
of what it was. 100%.
Right, and so that was basically the pinnacle outcome of your study of the Trivium. It would either be you become an expert in sacred law,
right,
or you become an expert in legal law, right, civil and criminal.
Yep,
right. Yep. So this got us through, the Dark Ages. This got us into, the Renaissance and Baroque ideas of university, and then. Also, I mean, we're halfway through this, so I do want to do a quick little commercial. The company that makes all of the books that I'm talking about is called Wooden Books, WOODEN Books.
There you go.
They are absolutely wonderful, and even though we've used the word heavy many times,
it's 4 books.
They're small, but I guarantee you they're not quick.
No, big contents, little package.
These read like very in-depth coffee table books,
Yes.
right? They are utterly fascinating. They're the real deal. But it is not completely inaccessible. All right, it doesn't read like a research-based, a doctoral
just
thesis.
Scanning through the grammar section of the Trivium book,
right.
It came across very accessible, and like they have poems at the bottom, but they're describing what they're teaching
what they're
you
talking
in that
in
poem.
there. Yeah, it's very fun. I read a couple of the pages when we were there. You go through the pages quickly, but it really gives you a lot to think about. I mean, if you're going in with the mindset of what you're reading isn't just what you're reading.
Right.
Like you really have to read into it, and the way that what I particularly I was looking at the grammar part or the language, I guess, and it was the letter F, and they gave this. It was like a little short story. It was really neat. It was all F words basically.
I guess I'm going through the whole alphabet now.
Yeah. And like
slurping slugs or slurping snails, and the letter S. Like that's one of
those.
those.
You're fantastic.
So it's just like
you're reading this little blurb that this thing has, and as you're reading it, you're like, what? Why am I? Like, what is this? What is this thing trying to tell me? This has nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's not the words themselves, it's how it was written. Why was it written the way it was written? You know why, but why? Why was it written that way, But that's what it makes you think of. Like immediately as I'm reading this, I'm like, and I was already in the mindset like this isn't just like a children's story that I'm reading. It's not like one of those neat little YouTube things that they do. This is serious.
This has a hallowed position on my bookshelf.
Yeah, and it's.
So I want to get to the second part of this, and again I'll remind everybody, the Trivium is what is considered to be concrete and provable.
Yes.
Okay. Because the next part, following those 3, is called the Quadrivium. So these 4 are about arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. So it deals in what we would consider to be abstract. It deals with numbers. And the same way that it goes through and it breaks down, what does it mean? Like, what is the meaning of, like, 2? Right.
It's
so
just,
like
it's
what
so
is
freaking weird.
What is 2 in a literal sense? What is 2 in a
And then as you think about it,
And our engineer has now died.
I couldn't
No. Okay, now we're
don't die. Please
come on.
don't die.
Christian, chime in.
I couldn't pick a better number.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, I mean,
Right.
you guys talk about these really cool philosophical things, and then all of a sudden you just go,
What
well,
is-
you know, what is the meaning of
So
It's
so this goes back and it proves
what
the
is
theory
the
of
definition
means.
of if?
Yeah.
Does
So-
it really equal fish?
So but you're dealing with what is abstract whenever we're talking about numbers, right? And I mean that immediately plays into philosophy, which goes back to the Trivium,
Yep.
right? So you had to receive a full, complete training in the Trivium
Right.
before they taught you.
You could
this,
advance to the
right?
Quadrivium. Yeah.
This was considered the graduate study. This was considered for this in order for people to become scientists, to become doctors, right? To advance in their education, to take on more responsibility, they needed to have this balance between the two, because they realized in dealing with the abstract, they needed to have the tools to make it accessible to themselves and to other people.
Right.
Because when you're taking something abstract and you're trying to
Quantify
Explain
it.
it.
you're trying, quantify it and explain it, put it into concrete language, you lose some fidelity.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right? So, okay, so in getting into this, to speak about this, we're talking about numbers. So you're talking about
2?
right. You're talking about with arithmetic. You're talking about numbers empirically,
Yes.
and how they relate to each other.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So then we add a dimension,
And that's geometry.
right? So we add a dimension of numbers in space.
In space. Yeah.
Right?
Now it gets
Numbers
real.
We were talking. We had a long conversation about the Muppets,
Pigs in
Yes.
space.
right? And
That's for the after show.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so geometry is numbers as they apply in space with measurement, right?
With the Y and
then
x-axis.
music, right?
Yep.
So numbers in time, right?
Yes.
When we're talking
Yeah.
about not only rhythm, right, but we're talking about melodic structure, harmonic structure.
Basically, hearing numbers in practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the first section I went to in that book, and my eyes crossed.
Yeah. Music is
Look,
tough,
I've
man.
said
Music
this.
is tough.
I've said this a couple times. I'm a music teacher. My life's work is to be around music every day, and I have to put the book down at a couple points, and I'm like,
What?
I just can't. I can't.
I love this dude, but no.
I'm
I
going
can't
cross-eyed.
I can't throw aside like 30 years of I thought I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So we have arithmetic, geometry, music, and then the final one is astronomy, and
Yeah.
and this is as an
Celestial
archaic
bodies,
interpretation of astronomy as you can imagine. We're talking about these things being codified by the Egyptians and by the ancient Greeks, right? And then the Romans and everybody who sort of carried the knowledge on after.
Right.
We're talking about a really ancient understanding, but a real understanding about astronomy, which is numbers in space and time.
And time. Yep.
Right? And that, I mean,
Rotational periods and celestial bodies,
right. And then-
sun
Oh my
and
God, I love
moon
it so much.
cycles.
if you haven't spent any kind of time thinking of those four things, math, geometry, right? All maths,
All maths.
All maths.
right?
This
Right, all maths.
Maths.
Even the ones that I didn't take.
Trigonometry's for suckers.
If I could go back
There's a
and
certain
take more
secretary's
classes-
wife that wants to stab you right now.
No. She knows all about
So
it.
maths and then geometry, which
Yep.
I did pretty well in. I liked geometry. Then music, which is
Oh my God.
the
Well,
family business.
if you did not.
and then astronomy, which I have no business putting anything into space.
Oh, I love it.
You're better off than certain people.
I'm just staring at my microphone right now. He doesn't need to listen because I know he's tapping our phones. But these are the things that we hope to understand, that we engage in a philosophical conversation, and we will continue to do so. And know that at the end of the conversation, we're going to leave maybe a little bit better, but we're not going to feel like we solved it.
I think after like music and astronomy, because geometry and still has arithmetic and geometry are still in my mind very quantifiable because they're numbers. All right,
agreed.
So you can look at them and go, this is true. Until you start getting into like the infinity aspects and pi and things like that.
But it's still numbers being.
But numbers being numbers, 2 + 2 = 4 kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's still quantifiable.
That's that one constant.
But once you get to music and astronomy, that's when you get into the realm of how things affect you. Yeah. Especially music.
Yep.
Music
is rough.
Within Masonry, we describe these differently. These are part of one of the degrees, and with each description comes a little, or with each title, grammar, rhetoric, logic, etc., comes a little description of each. And my favorite is the description of music. And for those Masons out there who have gone through the degree and have heard the descriptions, it's absolutely beautiful.
It's poignant. Yeah, agreed.
So, I want to pause at this point and call people's attention to, the fact that you're talking about people who made it their life's work to just sit down and take in the observable world. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're talking about people who spent their life out in the woods, and coming back to their teacher with questions, and the teacher told them something and they left with more questions. Right. Or people who would spend literally days on end laying down and staring up at the sky,
just contemplating,
and
and getting hit in the head with an apple,
or notating things.
Yeah.
And we get to stand. We have the privilege of standing on their shoulders.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right. So these two books. First of all, I mean, I can tell you on the back of this book, it says $22. I don't know a better $22 that you could spend.
Absolutely.
But for each of these things, however, if you are the type of person who goes, you know what, I just want to pick and choose, they have these tiny little smaller versions
companion
of some
size,
kind of hot button topics. So particularly if you are a Mason, and imagine, I mean, we have to just kind of say the word fellowcraft right now, because anybody who is a fellowcraft or a master Mason at this point, your ears should have been ringing this entire time. But let's just say you don't want this whole kind of in-depth experience overall, they have stuff that focuses on smaller topics of still great interest. So the idea of sacred number, right? Awesome. So the monad, the dyad, the triad, all of that stuff.
Chi,
right?
all that stuff.
All of this stuff. They have a book on that. Sacred geometry, enough said. Look, they have a book called The Ruler and Compass.
Wait, go back to sacred geometry. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, right. Once or twice. Then they have one that's specifically just the elements of music. Again, even this is very intimidating. They have
elements of music.
The elements of music.
I warn you for people who think you can take the music. I did. I thought I could. It seems as that it's rough. It really is, but it makes you think. Like
it's wonderful.
Take
it really is.
Take it slowly. So, really think about what he's putting in there.
It's definitely something you have a cigar or your pipe with.
Yeah, because you're going to read the same thing
read something.
3 or 4 times.
Read something and have a good time.
Yeah.
So other little books in the series, they have ones on the golden section, the golden ratio.
Oh my God, really?
Earth grids and secret patterns across the atlas of our planet. The Miracle of Trees.
I love trees.
Just because I like that title.
That title.
The Alchemist's Kitchen.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Ooh.
There's another one called Portals, and it just has a picture of a stone bridge.
Of a cake?
All wooden books.
Wooden books, okay.
Right. Gates, stills, windows, bridges, and other crossings. There's one on stone circles, which is absolutely fascinating. Another one called Celtic Pattern, Islamic Design.
Islamic design is a very fascinating subject.
Yes.
Because, like, if you were to go into a mosque, that's a word. Mm-hmm. That beautiful design up in, like, that looks like a chandelier. Yeah. That's a word. Yeah,
that's cool.
And that's the only bit of prying I've done, because I really don't know that much about the Muslim religion. Right. But I know that, and I'm looking at it and going, that's fucking beautiful. Yeah. You know, like
that means something.
That means something. It literally means something.
That's very cool.
So just to throw out one or two more of these titles. Poetic meter and form fractals.
Fractals?
For those people who know what that is. Perspective and other optical illusions. Simple shelters, the sun, moon, and earth, symmetry, proverbs, logic, the Mayan calendars, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And they're all
Hold on, let me get my shovel and start digging.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, looking at this, I was presented with these books by some other fellow Freemasons, and I just thought, maybe it's me. Like, maybe I just need to go and read some stuff. And I found it so edifying that it became fun. You know, it wasn't like, oh my God, I have to read all this stuff. No, you get to read this stuff. Yeah. You know,
it's not
mandatory. And you are not supposed to understand all of it.
No, but that's what part of what makes you think about it. You're like, why don't I understand what he's trying to say? Let me think about what he's trying to say. Have you ever seen?
I just I want to find.
He's got it.
Okay, you have the music one?
Yeah,
all right, no, I think it's in this.
The theory of music.
If you've ever gone to a science museum, they have this cool thing. It's a metal plate, right? Mm-hmm. It's a metal plate, and the metal plate has sand on it.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. And then every note will have a different shape that comes out.
So it will either vibrate itself, or you can take like a cello bow.
And you can make it.
So in here, they have this. And
there they are.
They break it down by frequency.
That's great.
Look at that cardioid form there.
But these pictures, guys, have nothing to do with whatever that metal plate is called.
No, it's just a byproduct. They figured that out like without that. Yeah,
right? It's the moon.
This is talking about moon patterns and Saturn and stuff.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as you go, oh my God, that's cool, then you'll go, wait, didn't I see that in the science museum when I was like 10 years old? You know, on something that you up to that point thought was completely unrelated.
Yeah.
So these things are out there, and one of the things that we get to do as Freemasons is remind people or introduce to people that this stuff still exists and is still relevant as it was many thousands of years ago.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I love these books very much. If anybody is listening to this and needs to be pointed in the right direction of where to find them, they're really very well done. So thank you to Wooden Books for putting this out. Thank you to all the authors.
We are not sponsored at all.
And contributors.
But thank you anyway.
Yeah.
Contributors to this, the editors that put this together. They are really wonderful, wonderful pieces of work.
Yes.
So that's my little book report tonight.
Excellent.
I think that's a good ending point.
Yeah, that was
that's
perfect.
That's a very average subject. Yeah, right.
Doors closed.
Doors closed to the shop. With that being said, though, I feel that even if you are not a Mason and you are just a student of the world,
Jinx.
I think you should invest in at least the Trivium and the Quadrivium. They're good references to various studies, as you've heard Brother Cotter describe. But with that, I am going to now close the door to not only the craft shop, but also to this podcast. So as always, thank you for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram at The Extended Branch. You can find us on YouTube on the Olive Branch Lodge 17 YouTube page.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe it.
Don't forget to talk to us.
Yes, we do appreciate fan mail.
Absolutely.
We have gotten some, and thank you to the brethren that have reached out to us.
Yeah,
it's
thanks, guys.
very
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice to know that we are making somewhat of an impact.
Yeah.
And for Brother Billy Bilbo,
Gracias para escuchando.
for Brother Kevin Cotter, Society of King Solomon.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
I am Worshipful Brother Andrew Rizzatello, and this has been The Extended Branch.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.